Hi there, my name is Richard Fishburne. I'm the pastor here at Christian Life Tabernacle in Huntington, Indiana. And we have a series of videos that are coming to you on Facebook. And these videos are based upon a message that God gave to me for our local assembly. That message was titled Beyond the Veil. And in essence, without getting in too deep, we've all heard the phrase, you can't judge a book by its cover. Through the years here at CLT, we have watched God transform lives. We've watched Him work in miraculous ways. And so we have a group of people here at CLT that, looking back through the years of their life, looking at where God found them at, the situations they were in, the things they were bound by, they don't even look like the same people. And so we are going to take you on a journey with us beyond the veil of what you can see now. If you were to see these folks out in public, at the store, at school, at their jobs, you would see folks that look completely different. They act completely different, but it hasn't always been this way. They seem to be put together now, but they have a story. They've come through some things, and we want to take you on that journey. So would you sit back with me, and let's take a journey beyond the veil, behind the book and its cover, to see the original story and the transforming power of the Spirit of God.
My name's Eric Stender, and I started coming to Christian Life Tabernacle in 2004. I grew up in the church. I started coming to church when I was 4, when my neighbor across the street asked me if I wanted to go to Sunday school. And at that point I was in preschool, so school basically meant candy and games, so I was all in, and I went every Sunday. But the more I went, I didn't go for the right reasons. I kind of just went to get out of my house, get away from my mom. All we ever did was fight. So yeah, I didn't go for the right reasons, but I did go to church. By the time I was in high school, I went to multiple churches. I was going to church in the morning, I was going to a different church in the afternoon, and I was going to a completely different church for youth. And I was just kind of bouncing all over the place, just searching, trying to find the right place, trying to find the place where I belonged. And I didn't really find that at any point. When I was 17, I even walked away from church entirely. I got mad at the pastor, of course, and he said something I didn't like, so I just walked away, took my Bible, and went home. A couple years later, a friend of mine who lived in Indiana, because I was from Iowa, had invited me just to come out here and maybe start over. So I did exactly that. Packed up all the things I had a little bit and moved to Indiana, and I didn't make it through one service before I found what I was missing. I found a home. I found a place where I belonged, and I found a family. I found it here, Christian Life. Well, I had my first taste of alcohol at about 4 or 5. My babysitter's son thought it was funny to watch a small toddler squirm while drinking from his can. So that's what I did. That led to more things, and when I was about maybe 11, I had probation from shoplifting. When I was the older I got, the worse things were for me. I tasted alcohol when I was 4, but I didn't really get into it until I was older. It was about after a senior party. There was a kid there with vodka, and I tried my hand at that, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. And that wasn't a good experience for me. It wasn't the best moment in my life, but it is a moment that did mold me a little bit, because fast forward a little bit, and I'm working at a place where me and some coworkers would clock out, and we'd go to another coworker's house. They were old enough for beer. They were old to buy it. So they'd buy it and we'd drink it. We would drink a lot of it. Our favorite day of the week was Tuesday. Tanked Tuesday. We drank a lot of alcohol. And in fact, there was one year I was at a birthday party for a friend of mine, one of those coworkers, and I should have died. He'd made me a vodka drink, and I chugged it. So he made me another one, and I chugged it, and then I passed out. Ended up aspirating and choking on my own vomit. Luckily, someone heard me in the other room and tipped me over. The next day, they were trying to tell me about it, and I didn't believe them. So we went and developed photos, and they showed me pictures. And only then did I realize how close I came to death. And you would think, that experience would make someone reevaluate and stop drinking and realize that they've made some poor choices. Wasn't that smart? I kept on drinking. A lot. That's what I did. And even after I got back into church here at Christian Life, I still battled with it. But nobody knew. Just me. I don't really have a moment when I was delivered. I have moments, that key turning points in my life. So when I was 12, I was at a church camp. The pastor had saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and he paid for me to go to church camp. So I went, and I remember standing at an altar and giving my life to God and praying and saying, "Okay, God, if there's something you can do in my life, then do it," because I needed something to change. And he moved mountains in my life. He came into me in a way that I'd never experienced before, and I decided that was it. I was committed. I was ready. I was going to do whatever God wanted me to do. For a bit. Didn't last. After I left the church and came back, and I was in a Christian Life, I can take you to the place in the old church building, or at the old church building a lot, where we had a burning barrel. And I remember I took almost 200 CDs and I tossed them in the burning barrel. This was music that did not glorify God. This was music that did not bring me closer to God. This was music that kept me from getting to where God needed me to be. So I watched all those CDs melt into a pile of nothing. And I remember later on at a tent revival that Christian Life was having, that the preacher was up front, and I had left church again. I walked away from God, and at that point I'm standing in the back of the church. I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt. I'm just kind of hoping nobody will notice me. But the preacher says, "Hey, if you feel that you have the call of God in your life, if you feel, God wants to do something with your life, come to the front, bring your Bible, we're going to pray for you." I didn't have a Bible at that point. I don't know where I put my Bible. I left it someplace. It was the farthest thing from my mind when I went to church that day. But someone did notice me. There was a minister in the church who just looked at me and he asked me one question. And he said, "Hey, want to borrow my Bible?" And I remember taking his Bible and going to the front of that church and in that tent revival. And I remember praying harder than I'd ever prayed in my life. And telling God again, "Hey, if there's something you want to do in my life, if there's something you can do in me, then do it. I'm here, I'm committed, I'm ready to do whatever you want me to do." And I think those are the moments that made me who I am now. Well, things have come full circle for me. So I used to be the bus kid, getting picked up on the Sunday school bus and going to church, trying to figure out who I was in God. Well, now me and my wife, we pick up kids in the bus. We run our own bus route. We pick up anywhere from 20, 25 kids on a Sunday morning, and we'll bring them in, and I teach Sunday school. So I get to see kids, who are coming to church on the bus, and just there's not a good way to explain the feeling you get when you bring the Bible to life for somebody. You make it real, you make it tangible, you make it just something that God can do amazing things, and you explain it to them, and you see them come to an altar, and you see them lift up their hands, and you see tears in their eyes, and you know that I've been that kid, I've been there, and you know that God's going to move mountains for them because God's moved mountains for you. And I'm old enough now, I actually get to see some of my first Sunday school kids on the praise team, or leading the kids choir or teaching their own Sunday school class. So it's been an amazing ride. I would say that it doesn't matter where you've been, it doesn't matter where you've come from, it doesn't matter if you've given your life to God 1, 2, 32 times and walked away. If God's got a call in your life, He's not going to let go. So don't let go of Him. He's got a plan, He's got a purpose. Just give your life to Him. Let him do whatever He needs to do. You'll be much better for it.